So is the recent release of the new Tomb Raider 1-3 Remastered better on the ROG Ally or the Steam Deck OLED? Well, let's look at the 4 key areas, which are visual fidelity, FPS, which one element really surprised me, battery life, and overall experience to find out which handheld offers the most enjoyment when playing Tomb Raider 1-3 Remastered. Plus, we'll look at a problem I ran into on the Ally and how I solved it. I'll share which handheld I prefer to play on with the 3 reasons why, and also something very special that dawned on me when making this video. So let's dive straight in, and for both of these comparisons, I'll be using Tomb Raider 1-3 Remastered purchased from the Steam store. Now I do want to state that when I loaded it up on the Ally for this testing tonight, it glitched out on me and became unresponsive. And when I managed to get in a level, I got this.
After that.
This has happened a few times before, so I'll head to Device Manager, to AMD Radeon Graphics, and yes, just as I suspected, the graphics driver was not working properly. After disabling it and then re-enabling it, I thankfully got this working properly message, so now this shouldn't be an issue. So I don't know what happened, if a recent Windows update had messed this up, I'm really not sure. Let us know what you think in the comments below. So now the graphics driver issue on the Ally is sorted, I restarted the device, loaded up the game through Steam, and let's start with visual fidelity. Now obviously this isn't going to have the very latest cutting edge graphics, even though it is a remaster, but it just looks so good to play through, and I love how hitting the start button takes us immediately into the old school PS1 version graphics in an instant. Now let's load it up on the Steam Deck OLED, and it looks again just really great here too. The vibrancy of the OLED really bringing out this red flooring. And putting them side by side, we can see that there really is very little in it. The Ally on the left at the higher 1080p does offer somewhat of a slightly crisper display, but with this particular game not having hugely detailed and nuanced environments, it's really not needing to push the Ally at all. The Steam Deck OLED on the right does look slightly brighter and more vivid thanks to 2 things: the 600 nits brightness on the 800p display, and also of course that gorgeous OLED screen. Next, let's look at FPS, and on the Ally this game runs an absolute rock steady 120 FPS, resulting in incredibly smooth gameplay, and again I just want to emphasize just what a joy this remaster is to play. The Steam Deck OLED obviously maxes out at 90 FPS, but this is still buttery smooth and even well above the minimum 60 frames per second many of us would consider is the lowest FPS to game at in 2024. And putting them side by side, the extra 30 FPS that the ROG Ally has over the OLED really isn't discernible when playing the game. One thing that is discernible though is that when we swap over to the old school original graphics, the FPS drops to 30 FPS, even though the Ally and OLED show their 120 and 90 FPS respectively. And this does make for noticeably laggy gameplay, although this is seemingly because developer Aspyr couldn't get the original game code any higher, and not as a result of limitations of the handhelds. Next at 3 is battery life, and here on the Ally we can set it at 10 watts silent mode and still run the game at a rock solid 120 FPS, which is neat. And in my playtime the battery lasts around the 3 hours mark at full game brightness. Here on the Steam Deck OLED at default settings and at max brightness, I'm getting over 8 hours. Yes folks, you heard that right, 8 hours of battery life, which is insane. This is so awesome. And finally is overall experience. And listen, playing the Tomb Raider 1-3 Remastered is an incredible experience on both the ROG Ally and Steam Deck OLED, and we as handheld gamers truly have never had it better. I think for me though, I've tended to play this more on the OLED for 3 reasons. First is I just love how Steam games like this completely fill that whole 7.4 inch screen, as well as the gorgeousness, if that's a word, of the display. Second is the incredible 8 hours battery life, which just blows my mind. And third is the ability to sleep the Steam Deck OLED mid-game and then come back to it a few hours later and resume straight away. That just isn't possible with Windows on the Ally, unfortunately. Doing this vid made me realise something very special, in that I've always wondered why I love third-person action games like The Last of Us 2, which you amazing long-time viewers to the channel know is my favourite ever game. And in revisiting Tomb Raider 2 in Venice for this vid, it dawned on me that this was the game that made me fall in love with 3D action adventure games. And when I first played this as a teenager in 1997, I was just blown away by it, and my love for video games has only grown since. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this Tomb Raider 1 to 3 remastered comparison on the Ally and Steam Deck, and also let us know what game made you fall in love with video games growing up in the comments below. Consider dropping a like if you enjoyed this, subscribe if you're new to the channel, as I'll shortly be doing a game launcher tutorial for the Ally and also a 2-month review of the Steam Deck OLED shortly that you do not want to miss. And as a thank you for watching right to the end of the video, I'd love to share this awesome quote. Be selective in your battles. Sometimes peace is better than being right. Being married myself now for over 15 years, I'd say that this is definitely one of the key bits of advice that's helped me. Besides being right, it's kind of overrated, so stay encouraged today, guys. And check the video on the top right if you want to set up the awesome Check If a Deck PS5 Remote Play app on your Ally, or the bottom right to set up EmuDeck on your OLED. I appreciate every single one of you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.